Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to take up an educational psychology lesson. It is growth and development. It is an important portion of the syllabus, but nothing tough about it. It's going to be fun. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please hit that subscribe button and turn the bell notification on. And before I start my class, I want you to tap the like button right now. Have you done it? Thank you very much. And yes, you'll be giving me some answers to the questions that I've provided by the end of this video. So best of luck and let's start the class now. So what is growth and what is development? People mostly use these terms interchangeably and they are treated synonymously, like they are the same, okay? Both relate to measurement of changes occurred in the individual. So let us say the journey of an individual starts from a fertilized egg and he turns into a full-fledged human adult, right? So in this process, he undergoes a cycle of changes, okay? So these changes are brought about by the process of growth and development. It can be in various dimensions like physical, mental, emotional, social, etc. But these two terms have different meanings. So let us learn about these different meanings of growth and development. So what do you mean by growth? Growth refers to physical increase in some quantity over time. So the quantitative changes that take place in the individual over a period of time is called growth. And it is used in purely physical sense, not mental, not emotional. It is purely physical. It generally refers to an increase in size, length, height, and weight. Changes in the quantitative aspect come into the domain of growth. Herlock defined growth as change in size in proportion, disappearance of old features, and acquisition of new ones. So what is development? It refers to the qualitative changes in the organism as a whole. So previously, when we were talking about growth, we were mostly referring to the physical aspect, the quantitative aspect of the individual. But when we talk of development, we are talking about the changes in quality or character rather than in the quantitative aspect. Okay? Development implies overall changes in shape, form, or structure, resulting in improved functioning. So the most important goal of development is it should lead to an improved functioning, an improved working of the individual. And yes, note the word overall changes. It's important for you to know that development has both qualitative and quantitative aspect. It has both these aspects, but qualitative aspect weighs much more than quantitative aspect in development. But in growth, the primary focus and the only focus is on the physical and the quantitative aspect. So in order to make your concept of growth and the concept of development more clearer, let us go through these various points of difference between the two. Growth is quantitative. Development is qualitative. Growth is just one of the part of developmental process, while development is a much more wider and comprehensive term. So, in a very strict sense, growth is the quantitative aspect of development. I will repeat that again. Growth is the quantitative aspect of development, and development is much more wider, it's much more comprehensive term. It refers to the overall changes, as I've already mentioned in the previous slide. It refers to the overall changes in the individual, and growth happens to be just one of its parts. Okay, got it? So growth may refer to the changes in parts of the body of the organism. So growth will describe the changes which take place in particular aspects of the body of the organism. And development describes the changes in the organism as a whole and does not list the changes in parts. So growth does not continue throughout life. It has a point where it stops. And when does that happen? When maturity is attained. Whereas in development, it is a continuous process which takes place from birth till death. The changes, however small they may be, they will continue throughout the lifetime of an individual. Growth is subject to measurement. So the changes produced by growth are the subject of measurement. They may be quantified and are observable in nature. Whereas development is difficult to measure. So development, as mentioned earlier, it implies improvement in functioning. It brings qualitative changes which are difficult to measure. They are assessed through observation in behavioral situations. All right? And last point is, growth may or may not bring development. So let me illustrate this point with an example. A child may grow in terms of weight by becoming fat, but this growth may not bring any functional improvement, any qualitative change or development. All right? Development is also possible without growth, as we see in the cases of some children that they do not gain in terms of height, weight or size, but they do experience functional improvement or development in physical, social, emotional or intellectual aspects. Now let's learn about principles of growth and development. The changes brought about in the individual by the process of growth and development to follow some well-defined principles. What are they? Number one, principle of continuity. So development follows continuity. It goes from womb to tomb and it never ceases. So an individual starting his life from a tiny cell develops his body, mind, his personality through a continuous stream of development. The rate of growth and development is not uniform. Although development follows continuity, yet the rate of growth and development is not steady. It's not uniform at all. It proceeds more rapidly in early years of life but slows down into the later years of infancy. And again, at the dawn of puberty, there is a sudden rise in the speed of growth and development, but it is not maintained for long. Therefore, at no stage the rate of growth and development shows steadiness. It rather takes place sporadically, intermittently. Next is the principle of individual differences. So according to this principle, there exist wide individual differences among children with respect to their growth and development in various dimensions. Each child grows at his own pace. Next is uniformity of pattern. So although development does not proceed at a uniform rate and it shows marked individual differences, yet it follows a definite sequence or pattern and somewhat uniform in the offsprings of a species. So an example here is human babies begin to grow from head downwards, from head to toe. So similarly, the motor development and language development in children seems to follow a definite sequence. Development proceeds from general to specific. So in all phases of child's growth and development, general activity precedes specific activity. Let's take an example. A baby boy, waves his arms, right? He makes random movements with his arms. Before, he is capable of doing something very specific like reaching out for a toy. Similarly, in language development, say the child learns general words before he learns something very specific. Principle of integration. So it is the integration of the whole and its parts. So what do you mean by integration? Integration means all the parts coming together, unifying and becoming a whole. Okay. It is the integration of whole and its parts as well as of the specific and general responses that make a child develop satisfactorily in the various dimensions of his growth and development. So the specific responses or the part movements of a child, they all combine in the later process of development. The principle of interrelation. So growth and development in a dimension affects the growth and development of the child in any dimensions, be it physical, mental, social, emotional. They are all interrelated and interdependent. So an example cited here is children having poor physical development tend to regress in emotional, social and intellectual development. So when one dimension of growth and development is affected, then that tends to affect the remaining dimensions of growth and development of the child. Again, an example is children with above average intelligence are generally found to possess above average physical and social development. That means growth and development follow the principle of interrelation. The principle of predictability. So that means growth and development are predictable. If we study the rate of growth and development of a child, then that helps us to predict the range within which his mature development is going to fall. Example, knowledge of the present mental ability of a child will help predict his ultimate mental development. Thus, growth and development follow the principle of predictability. Now we're looking at the principle of developmental direction. So, under this principle, we have 2 points. Okay, number one is cephalocaudal. Cephalocaudal means head to toe. So, development takes place from head to toe. Okay, it proceeds from head downwards. So, development proceeds in the direction of longitudinal axis. Longitudinal axis means it proceeds from the top to bottom, from head to foot. So, first, the child gains control over his head and arms and then his legs so that he can stand. Next, we have proximodistal tendency, which means from the center to the periphery or from the center outward. Okay. More general functions of limbs to develop before more specific or fine motor skills. So the limbs are able to perform more general functions, after which they will be able to perform more specific, more refined motor skills. Example is control over fingers, the baby's fingers. Let's take an example. So the control over fingers comes after the control over the arms. Okay, so which is more general? The arms are more general than fingers. So development is spiral. Okay, it's like this. It is not linear. It is not straight. Okay, a child does not proceed on a straight path of development at a constant or steady pace. Okay, it doesn't happen like that. Actually, he makes advancement during a particular period but takes rest in the next following period to consolidate his development. Okay, so it shows that development follows a spiral path rather than a straight and linear path. Growth and development as a product of both heredity and environment. So you must know that growth and development of a child at all times is directly or indirectly influenced by the forces of heredity and environment, both nature and nurture. No doubt about it. Which of the following aspects focuses more on physical dimensions? Concept of development, of growth, of change, of learning. So this is very easy. I want you to answer this question. So just type the correct option in the comment section. Okay, best of luck. The overall changes in shape, form or structure resulting in the improved quality functioning refer to the growth, development, quality of growth, quantity of growth. So this is also a very easy question. So I want you to answer this question as well in the comment section. Okay, best of luck. Which of the following statement is correct with regards to growth and development? Okay, so growth is psychological. No. Remember, growth is quantity and development is quality. Okay. Both growth and development are physical. No. Both growth and development are psychological. False. So the correct answer will be B. Growth is physical, which is quantity, while development is psychological, which is quality. Okay, so we have an assertion and reason question. Heredity influences the process of growth and development. Yes, this is very much true. So option D will be out. Okay. The living conditions, physical, social and cultural, do not affect growth and development. This is very much false. Because as we have learned previously, growth and development are both a product of heredity and environment. So A will be out because it says R is true. B will also be out because it says R is true. So obviously our correct answer will be C. A is true and R is false.